Right now, American pilots are taking off into combat, and they cannot see what's waiting for them. Not because the technology failed, not because of a malfunction, because Iran studied the schedule, waited for the exact 6-hour window when every single radar plane was grounded and erased all 4 of them in 40 seconds for $36 million. The damage they caused? Over $1 billion. But the dollar figure isn't the real story. The real story is what happens to every mission flying tonight without eyes. 4:52 a.m. Al Dhafra Air Base, United Arab Emirates. The eastern apron is completely quiet. 4 aircraft sit parked in a row. Engines cold. Radar domes motionless. Crews asleep in barracks nearby. This is where the E-3 Sentry lives. And tonight all 4 of them are grounded. Not by enemy action. Not by mechanical failure. By a maintenance schedule. 2 are being recalibrated. 1 is mid-engine replacement. 1 is being fitted with upgraded countermeasures. For 6 hours, midnight to 6 a.m. Not a single E-3 assigned to the Middle Eastern theater is in the air. The plan was to cover the gap with ground-based radar and 1 allied aircraft flying out of Saudi Arabia. A manageable risk. Temporary. Classified. Iran had already read the schedule. At 4:52 a.m., 12 ballistic missiles launched from mobile platforms in southeastern Iran. 1,200 kilometers of airspace. 7 minutes of flight time. The Patriot batteries fire immediately. 9 missiles are intercepted. 3 get through. 3 is all it takes. The first hits between the second and third aircraft. Both fuselages ripped open at once. Fuel ignites. Fires that burn for more than 3 hours. The second hits 60 meters from the lead aircraft. Close enough. The left wing tears away from the fuselage. The radar dome is shattered beyond recognition. The third hits the maintenance hangar, 200 meters away, where the 4th E-3 is sitting mid-engine replacement. The roof comes down. The aircraft is crushed under steel and concrete. 4 aircraft destroyed. $1.08 billion in airframes and mission systems. 40 seconds. Here's what most people don't understand, and what the mainstream coverage completely skips over. The E-3 Sentry is not a fighter, it's not a bomber, it doesn't drop weapons, which is exactly why losing it is worse than losing any aircraft that does. The E-3 is a modified Boeing 707 fitted with a rotating radar dome that tracks more than 600 aircraft simultaneously at ranges beyond 400 kilometers. It sees low-flying cruise missiles that ground radar misses entirely because of terrain. It sees everything moving in the sky across hundreds of kilometers in every direction. But it doesn't just see, it commands. Up to 34 mission specialists work inside that aircraft during flight. In real time, they direct fighters toward incoming threats. They sequence strike packages so bombers and escorts arrive together. They coordinate aerial refueling, connecting fuel-starved fighters with tankers at exact coordinates. They keep friendly aircraft from shooting each other in airspace, crowded with weapons moving in every direction. Take the E-3 away and pilots are limited to their own aircraft's radar. Take the E-3 away and incoming missiles aren't detected until they're already close. Take the E-3 away and a coordinated air campaign becomes individual jets, flying separate missions, each one operating in near total isolation from the bigger picture. The E-3 doesn't fire a single shot, but without it, every aircraft that does is flying partially blind. And now all 4 are gone. This is the part that should alarm every commander in the region. Al Dhafra is one of the most heavily defended installations in the Middle East. F-35S, F-22S, Patriot Pack, 3 batteries, a THAAD system built specifically to stop Iranian missiles, continuous perimeter surveillance, and Iran still hit exactly what it aimed at. 12 missiles, 1 6-hour maintenance window, 1 section of 1 base, all 4 aircraft in the same row. That is not a lucky shot. The decision to ground all 4 E-3S simultaneously was made 48 hours before the attack. Classified. Communicated only through secure channels. Distributed only to personnel directly involved in the maintenance work. Someone passed that information to Iran. The alternative, that Iran launched 12 missiles, by coincidence, targeting the exact section of the base where the E-3S were parked, during the exact hours all 4 were simultaneously grounded, is statistically impossible. Iran had a source inside the operation. Real-time intelligence. Base-level access to classified American scheduling. And here's what that actually means. Beyond 4 destroyed aircraft, if Iran has a human source inside an American airbase, every flight schedule, every weapons load, every defensive posture across every U.S. installation in the Gulf is potentially exposed. Not compromised in theory, exposed right now, tonight, while those missions are being planned. The counterintelligence investigation that follows this attack may be more consequential than the missiles themselves. 9 American airmen are dead, 14 wounded, 6 of them critically. 4 maintenance technicians killed when the hangar collapsed on top of them, 2 security personnel who were patrolling the apron, 3 munitions specialists in an adjacent facility that caught fire from the blast. Master Sergeant Daniel Whitford, 34 years old, 14 years of service, 3 months from retirement, working a night shift in that hangar because the maintenance schedule required the E-3 back in the air by morning. He died under a collapsed roof. Because 4 aircraft that should never have been grounded simultaneously were grounded simultaneously and parked in a row like targets. Now here's the operational reality going forward. The US Air Force operates roughly 31 E-3 Sentries worldwide. The actual operational fleet, around 20 to 22 aircraft, is split across 3 theaters: Europe, the Pacific, the Middle East. Pull aircraft from Europe and NATO air surveillance weakens while Russia is actively fighting a war in Ukraine. Pull from the Pacific and coverage drops while China escalates near Taiwan. Every aircraft sent to replace the losses in the Middle East creates a new gap somewhere else. A gap adversaries are already watching for. 2 E-3S are being redeployed from Oklahoma on the ground within 72 hours. 2 aircraft to replace 4. And those 2 need weeks, not days, to integrate with theater operations, calibrate to regional conditions, and build the crew rotations required for continuous coverage. During those weeks, American pilots are flying combat strikes without the comprehensive air picture that has defined US air superiority for 4 decades. Fighter controllers are working from ground radar with hard range limits and blind spots carved out by terrain. Aerial refueling coordination degrades. Missions abort. Aircraft divert to alternate bases when they can't locate tankers. And the early warning the E-3 gave to Patriot batteries, the extra seconds to track and engage incoming threats before they're too close, those seconds no longer exist. The bases aren't just missing their eyes. They're missing the reaction time that was keeping them alive. Here's what makes this genuinely worse than it already looks. The E-3 fleet was already scheduled for retirement starting in 2027. The replacement, the E-7A Wedgetail, is in production. But production is delayed. The first operational aircraft won't reach the Air Force until 2028 or 2029 at the earliest. This attack just turned a managed transition into a crisis with no clean solution. Fewer aircraft available, higher operational demand, less maintenance time per airframe, more mechanical risk per flight hour. Every E-3 that's still flying is now being pushed harder than it was designed for. Harder use means faster wear. Faster wear means more failures. More failures mean more gaps. And Iran hasn't fired a second salvo yet. Right now, one E-7, a Wedgetail, deployed to Saudi Arabia as a test platform before this attack, is carrying the entire airborne early warning mission for a theater stretching from the Eastern Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean. 1 aircraft. When it lands for maintenance, and it has to land, there is 0 airborne early warning coverage in the Middle East. The Air Force is surging mobile ground radar systems to 4 positions to compensate. Those systems are capable. They are not enough. Ground radar cannot see over the horizon. It cannot penetrate terrain. It cannot reposition with the battle. It is a band-aid on a gunshot wound, and everyone inside the Air Force knows it. Now look at what Iran actually spent. 12 Shahab, 3 missiles, roughly $3 million each. Total Iranian expenditure, $36 million. American losses, $1.08 billion in aircraft. $45 million in destroyed facilities. $60 to $80 million in parts, spare systems, and classified mission equipment. $12 million in emergency redeployment costs. Total damage over $1.2 billion. $33 of damage for every $1 Iran spent. But the financial ratio still isn't the real point. Iran did not target fighters, did not target bombers, did not target the aircraft actively striking Iranian territory. It targeted the aircraft that make all the others work. You don't punch the fist. You blind the eyes. Iran didn't need to destroy a single F-35 to degrade American air superiority over the Middle East. It destroyed the platform that made F-35 operations possible and achieved the same result at a fraction of the cost. That is not luck. That is strategy. And it worked. Mainstream coverage is showing you satellite images of scorched concrete. Pentagon spokespeople confirming that air operations will continue. They're not wrong. But they are not telling you that the pilots flying those operations are now doing it with dramatically reduced awareness of what's around them. They're not connecting 4 destroyed radar planes to the elevated risk of missed interceptions, failed strikes, and friendly fire in congested airspace. They're not telling you that the intelligence breach that made this attack possible means every American operational plan in the Gulf may already be in Iranian hands. And they are not asking the question that every aircrew preparing for tonight's mission is sitting with right now. What am I flying into that I can't see? The story they're telling is about an air base attack. The story you just heard is about the moment American air superiority lost its eyes and the most advanced Air Force in history began operating in a darkness it hasn't experienced since before the technology existed to prevent it. Both stories are true, but only one of them explains why every mission launching tonight is more dangerous than anything that flew yesterday, and why the pilots strapping in right now already know it. If this is what they're not covering, subscribe, because this won't be the last gap they leave unfilled. Hit the bell. One aircraft is carrying the entire theater. The war is not slowing down.